Hi, Joyce. It took me a while to find this, so we didn't start recording right away, and they were talking about, I don't know what, Weitzel, English, Nichols, anyway, all the above. First things first, I wanted to show you guys the actual revisions on this year's exam. They stated in 3 different key changes. I don't know where, I lost it somewhere. I was trying to find it for a while. The key changes that they say to the exam. Now, for AB, this isn't a big deal, but for you guys, you probably felt at least that it was a little different on Saturday on some of the questions. Like, did you guys have the random limit definition of an integral?
I think so.
Like the last question on non-calculated multiple choice? Okay, maybe it's AB had that one. They literally just have like a limit as n goes to infinity of the sum from I equals 1 to n of f of c sub I times whatever. Like it was just the integral definition. They just had to match it with the correct integral. Anyway, it was weird. They shouldn't have, because like I make a forever card for it. I just have never seen the AP test it. Yeah, it's true too. But they should. Anyway, so they, like a lot of this is teaching stuff in a sense that they're trying to back up what they do, why they do, like simplify everything, 4 big ideas, limits, derivatives, integrals, and for you guys, series. I guess you guys have 5 big ideas because you add series. And they're just trying to explain everything and justify everything, which is why in that answer key that we were looking at, you're like, what on earth is all that stuff on the sample practice problems? They're just trying to show what it accomplishes and you guys being able, and what it tests, and you guys being able to answer the question. Yada, yada, yada. Nothing has been removed as far as topics. AB officially added L'Hôpital's, although AP has decided they're going to spell it hospital. It looks like hospital, but that's not how you're supposed to say it, so whatever. But with an S. BC, I mean, look at what they added. This is technically what they didn't test on before, but now they will. The limit comparison test is going to be in there somehow, somewhere, or it could be. Absolute and conditional convergence. I guess they didn't really test on it before, but I always taught it before. And then the alternating series error bound, so not just Lagrange. Yeah.
I can't remember, will we ever have a series with finite bounds that we would have to find what it converges to? And if so,
Like the, with the i's, like the sum of I and using that formula? Is that what you mean?
something like that.
No.
And then,
No, you're not going to have to solve.
like n equals 1 and then the top is 50 or something with a function.
No, you shouldn't have to. I think we peeked at that when we did the definition of an integral and we were actually trying to solve them by hand.
Nope, that was pre-calc.
But that didn't come in at all this year. I didn't show you guys how the sum of I and the sum of I squared.
Maybe last year. And then I think we did go over it when we were doing.
That's what I thought. Yeah, we did it just for a little bit. But no, there shouldn't be a finite one. The only finite would be if you're approximating with an nth degree Taylor or Maclaurin or whatever. Or you're approximating with the sum of the first however many terms of an alternating series. I guess they could call it the nth partial sum, I suppose. What would the error bound be using the next term? Just the difference. How do you guys know the difference between alternating series error bound and Lagrange? Partially the question. They usually say Lagrange, but then also, you're right.
Lagrange is any function, alternating series is one of an alternating.
Also true. Well, any function approximated with a Taylor or Maclaurin, right? Alternating series doesn't technically have to correspond to a Taylor or Maclaurin. Anything else? For Lagrange, it probably is going to say something about the maximized n plus first derivative. It might not necessarily tell you the maximized. It might say, hey, this function has to be less than, or this derivative has to be less than this value. They could tell you something explicit like that. Or they could just give you the function and you have to figure out the maximized, like the z for the n plus first derivative, etc. But something to do with maximized. Anyway, with that, those are the only 3 that they say are added. So there might be an added emphasis on these 3. I wanted to show you guys these 3 because this is what they're saying weren't really covered on the test, but now they are. And then last but not least, that's all to do with the timing was literally because teachers and like test administrators, like the proctors, like Mrs. Pratt's, were like, seriously, why do we have 55 minutes and then like 40, whatever it was? They just didn't like it.
So they ran it up.
So they made it 45 and 60 because they're nice, even yeah, they literally just put in extra questions and took away questions to make them nice times for proctoring. So that's all that was for. But in the very beginning, you guys can see how hard they've worked to make everything being like we really want to be testing kids' understanding and their essential knowledge, that they truly understand the big picture. So there are going to be more ideas in some way, shape, or form than maybe there have been before in all the practice you guys have done. So I also wanted to show you guys this just in the sense that we are going to be doing old practice exams, but truly the only full new practice exam formatted like the AP from College Board is the one that you took on Saturday.
That one had a lot of the bigger questions had like we use a bunch of stuff to break it down.
Mm-hmm. Which is fairly common for calculus, but I'm just trying to give the warning that with all of this, how hard they're working on like rationalizing everything they do and making sure everything has a point, it might show up in kind of how things are read and how things are graded, because they're going to be very picky on, they're always picky. Like you can't ever show anything wrong in an FRQ or else they're going to take off points. But you have to be very clear in your explanations and how you write things. Like AB kids don't write DX after an integral integration by separation of variables. They separated, but they didn't actually put an integral. Like all of those little things that might show lapses in understanding, they're going to probably capitalize on and score accordingly. So, and the whole ABCD, like they're probably making the answer choices a little bit easier because they're going to crack down a little bit harder on the FRQs. So, something to keep in mind. With that, I actually do want to give to you guys. We talked about yesterday from the AB exam, the FRQs that you guys are going to take. So I did go ahead and print out the FRQs so that you guys can have a blank copy and the answer key that goes with it. And with the answer key that goes with it, there's also like a little page that says, like, as I said, that they try to rationalize everything, that shows the rationale as to what the question was testing, so you guys can think through like things you need to explain, etc., and try to be clear on in your solution. So, who had question number 1? Okay. So question number 1, and I think curriculum, framework, alignment, and score. Okay, pass over. Question number 2. That was the motioning one. That's Joyce.
Hey, we're talking about you, Joyce.
Look at Joyce's. Hers is a long explanation, but a short answer. That's nice. Short answer, but very long as to what it's supposed to test and show and all that jazz. Okay, those are the only 2 calculators. The rest of you guys know calculators allowed, right? Question number 3. That guy. Okay. Alright, man, I can get it.
Wait, are we doing this or are we?
AJ's.
AJ?
Oh,
Just remember that right now.
I hate my life.
Why?
I did this wrong on that FRQ.
You really? Question number 4. That's the differential equation one.
Because I think I did it wrong too.
I did it instead of, I just did 2 to 5 instead of 5 to 7 because I don't know how to count.
Oh, well,
I
the
did
differential
actually
equation.
get that number right.
I think I got the second.
Yeah,
I got.
Gerardo, are you differential equation?
Weird.
Yeah.
Because I thought B and
Oh,
C were supposed to be
come here.
almost the same.
Man, this was back here.
One's 100.
Jordan.
Okay.
Come.
This is
Number 5.
and that's 16.
I see, that's
Those don't
piece one.
Just divide by 10 is what the average.
I was like, I don't understand why they're so different. And then I was like,
Oh, did I really get it right?
Oh,
I'm so happy now.
all I said was they're 2 different things and don't relate. Because I was like, I honestly have it.
It should be A as
Oh,
well.
you're sitting really like this.
Yeah, I always think sideways in my chairs.
I've been like trying to like
But Mr.
work too easy forward. I'm like, I can't see the board.
Yeah, the board also is on.
Well, that's what I was gonna actually. Number 2 is Joyce.
Oh, I was like, where's one?
Okay, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to get out blank paper. Just one piece of like notebook paper. Because you don't want to write on your blank copy of the question because you might use that in your video, right? Does that make sense? There are multiple ways of using it. You could scan it and put it in a document, and then like a PowerPoint or something you could work on with that. If you have a tablet, you could work with that. If you want to do old school, my cheater trick.
Oh
Couldn't you put it in and couldn't you get one of those nice little thin vis-a-vis and just write all over that puppy all you want? And then like if you mess up, you didn't like ruin your blank copy. I totally have these if you guys want to play with one of these or take a few and then just maybe bring them back because you probably won't use them again. That's a good idea as well. Just don't try to use big old fat expos with that because you're not going to be able to fit half as much as you want to fit on it. I'm going to pause the video for you, Joyce, because you're going to have yours too. I know you have the answer key, but that's not necessarily how you did or would have done the question. So I thought I'd just take maybe like 5-10 minutes. Let's go 10. Hide the answer key from yourself, even if you just look all over it. And I want you guys to just to remind yourself of how the AB kids might be reading it, might be interpreting it, how you would explain it, etc. I want you guys just to play through, work through the FRQ fully. Then, once you've finished it to the best of your extent, or to the best extent we possibly can, then go ahead and grade your response with the answer key. Now, this isn't for a grade. This is all just a part of the process. But I want you to read through it, think through it, try it, grade it in the sense of looking at the answer key. And see if maybe you make any common mistakes, or maybe get out a highlighter after you graded, like, okay, this is going to be important, maybe make a few notes on the side as to things that you're going to want to explain, forever cards you want to find, etc. This is kind of like a brainstorming session. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Good.